Now, I have a piece here called Mein Gemüt und Blut, and that is, I have my footnote which contains the name of the document. In this case, since I know the composer or anthologist is here, I don't need to put it here at the beginning of the footnote. So I just do a Nouveaux Landbuchlein, Volume 1, Folio D4, 2 spaces, encoded and edited by, in this case, me. Okay, going up to the top here, I put in the title, the main author of the whole work. And in this case, it turns out, I found from another source that there's a different original composer. So I put him in parentheses. And if I wanted another subtitle along with that composer, I would say, like, something like that. And then a space, a hyphen, a space, and the composer name. And the software will know to pick this out as the original composer, and this as the new subtitle. So, but in this case, I'm not going to do that. So, so that's all good. So now we've set up our heading, our footnote, and now we're ready to enter the actual music. Here, first thing to do is check bar numbers. Bar numbering offset. If it's a pickup measure, you want a bar number of -1, so that the first measure will be the second measure that shows up here. And that's very useful to get your numbering straight. But in this case, there isn't a pickup measure, so I just use 0 for that. So then the next thing I do, I go into single line mode, because it's much easier to read and easier to use. And I start putting in the rhythm flags first. And I use my right hand on the number pad and my left hand on the left arrow, and my pinky on the enter key on the number pad. And then I can do it all very fast. Hitting C gives me the fermata once I've entered the note value. For res, I just do a blank stave underneath the rhythm sign. For the last one, if there's a fermata, I give it a little extra length so that it ends the piece nicely, and then I just put the fermata mark on it, which basically hides that fact, so it doesn't appear in the printed document. And that's all the rhythm signs. So now I check use Control V to see if I made any mistakes, or rather Alt V. And it says measure 10 is too short. Okay, so I think what I did here is in the original it's a whole note, I put in a half note, so I check it again. Measure 28 is too long, but that's okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the one where I put the dot to make it a little bit longer. So my rhythm is correct. Now I do Control R to rebeam the whole thing. And there I have it. Now, it's a little too spread out for my taste, so I want to make it a little bit less spread out. So I'll make it 100%. And that looks pretty good, actually. I wouldn't want to do it much less than 100% because it starts to look kind of squashed. And I wouldn't want to do it more than 150 to 200. And that's assuming a note spacing of 400, which is sort of standard for me. So we're ready to enter the notes. Again, I use the right hand on the arrow keys. The left hand actually types the notes. And most of them fall nicely under the fingers. Just occasionally you have to take your finger off of the use the plus key to give me that nifty little cross indicating a tenuto. In Hans Neusiedler, his bass designations are off by 1 for the 6th course. So B is actually a C, etc. A is a B, and across is an A. Different German tab composers have different designations for that. Okay, so that's the basic entry, and then you want to go in and proofread it at the same time. We can put the dots in. Whoops, forgot one. Now, for doing this, I put my little finger on the page down, my forefinger on the dot on the nub pad. So that means I can move forward without having to move my hand. I find that useful. Okay, that's done. Now, we'll go back to full page mode, take a look at it, and play it, and follow along in the German tab, see where we are. Seems okay. So that completes the work on this. For some reason, Fronimo doesn't necessarily, I like to make sure that the file is going to be saved properly. If the little icon here isn't blue, it indicates that Fronimo thinks it's been saved already, and maybe it has, but I always check by typing something in that's already there and hitting save, and that way I know for sure it's saved. Now, the next thing to do, that piece is done, but now we go to the next piece in the documents, and we cannibalize the information that we have in the former piece by doing Alt-F-A for save as. I put in the file name in this case, and I use underlines between different parts of the file name, and I do not use any accents or weird characters in file names because my software blows up if I do. So I use in Liebes Kunst. And I have to check to see who I look in my handy dandy Howard Mayer Brown book to see if there's any alternate composer here. And there does not appear to be, so I'm going to say the composer is Nusiger. So now I have, and first I change the title. And Liebes Kunst, that looks right. There is no alternate composer, so we can get rid of that. And we go to your page number and change that. As you can see, the page number is D4V here. If there were more than one piece on a page, I would do like D4V A, D4V B, D4V C, etc., indicating a piece on that page in that position that starts there. I go by where pieces start. I don't usually give the full, range of a piece from one page to another, because who needs the extra hassle? And now we're done. We're ready to go on to the next piece. And I would just say the first thing we do, of course, is to check that the bar number is 0 because there's no pickup measure here. And then we'll just move on to the next piece. And I think that will do it for this demonstration. So thank you, and we are done.